friends. We're reading Gooseberry Park and we're on page 72, and the title of our chapter is Guests. Later that morning, Murray rubbed his eyes, stretched his wings, and gave a giant yawn. Top, Bottom, and Sparrow were all sleeping soundly against him, and Kona was coming down the stairs. Murray grinned and waved at the dog. "Say, Kona, what's for breakfast?" "Breakfast?" said the dog. "You want breakfast?" Murray nodded. "Murray, when I got back from Gooseberry Park this morning at 6, you ate a whole bag of Fritos, a box of Ritz crackers, and a 16-ounce package of provolone cheese and an orange." "Ate an orange?" Murray asked. "It's only 10. How in the world can you still be hungry?" said the dog. "I never eat oranges," Murray said. "How can you even move?" asked Kona. "They make me break out," said the bat. Murray looked down at the pile of sleeping babies. "Hi, gang," he said. "Want a Pop-Tart?" "Just wait here," said Kona. "I'll bring something down soon. The pudding cup seemed to be all right for the babies last night, so I'll try to steal another one for them. But you have to stay here and keep quiet, Murray. We can't let Professor Albert find you." "Sure," answered Murray cheerfully. "No problem. But, what are my chances of getting a Mars bar?" "Just stay," said Kona, disappearing back up the stairs. Murray sighed. He looked all around the basement. Pipes, wires, what to do? Suddenly, the sound of a television show came drifting down. "Jeopardy!" cried Murray. "My favorite!" He jumped out of the box, ready to dash upstairs, and then he remembered Kona's instructions to stay. Murray walked in circles around and around the box, hearing the familiar theme song float down from above. "Oh, oh, 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 oh," said Murray, trying really hard to stay. "But Alex Trebek is my idol," he wailed. And flum, 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 he was on his way. The basement steps led to the kitchen. Murray flew in and, hiding inside a china cabinet, poked his head out and looked towards the living room. Professor Albert was watching television and eating a Danish. Kona sat beside him, looking rather impatient and glancing often toward the basement. Kona didn't see Murray in the cabinet. "And now we'll begin our round of double jeopardy," said Alex Trebek. Murray sighed with pleasure and settled down to watch. Soon, however, the sight and smell of Professor Albert's Danish was just too much for the tiny bat. He was hungry, and he needed breakfast. Murray's nose went up in the air, sniffing, sniffing. Said the little bat to himself. "Now where would Professor Albert keep a Danish?" So he flew to the top of the cabinet and looked out over the confusion at Professor Albert's kitchen of counters. A bottle of vitamin C, a bottle of vitamin A, a bottle of vitamin E. Gee, I'm watering at the mouth. His eyes searched a different counter. Wheat germ, olive oil, soybean curd. Oh, gross. Maple, granola, Oreos, lima beans. Oreos! Murray jumped so hard he hit his head on the ceiling. Thump! In the living room, Kona pricked up his ears. The dog looked toward the kitchen and saw Murray hopping up and down on top of the china cabinet, waving to him and pointing to something below. Kona nearly fainted. He shook his head fiercely at Murray. The bat mouthed some words to him. Creamy center was all Kona could make out. The Labrador frowned and firmly shook his head again. He had to wait for Professor Albert to take a morning nap before carrying any more food to the basement. The professor would likely be home all day, with the ice outside still so thick. They were lucky even to have electricity back on. And Murray was supposed to be staying in the basement, but there he was, bouncing like a ball on the china cabinet. Murray had to behave. Kona vigorously shook his head at the bat again. "A flea, Kona?" the professor asked, putting down his Danish and rubbing Kona's ears. "No, just a pest," the Labrador said to himself. Back in the kitchen, Murray threw up his wings in exasperation. A whole bag of Oreos in the kitchen, and the dog only wants his ears scratched. Domestic animals. Who can figure them? Flum. Murray dropped down to the kitchen counter. Just then, Professor Albert rose and said something about needing some butter. "Uh-oh," said Murray, who was just getting to his first creamy center. We'll read tomorrow to find out if Murray gets caught by Professor Albert.